This has been a little bit of a long-term project for us. This is from our friends out in Arizona, JR Garage, and it is a first-year Murcielago, so gated manual only. Lots of decisions went into this happening today. Anyone want to whiff? I saw that. Did you get that? Oh, I got to see that. It's so cool. Hey everyone, and welcome back to DC MotorWerks. My name is Cameron, and we are continuing all of the Lambo love around here. As you can see, there are a couple up front, there are a bunch more inside, but this has been a little bit of a long-term project for us. This is from our friends out in Arizona, JR Garage. They recently purchased this car last year and commissioned us to bring it back to life. It spent about 3 years up here in North Georgia, just sitting, and they didn't know anything about it, so it came straight here, and we've gone through some work and some things just to get it running, and it's been quite the labor of love, but contrary to its rough appearance, it is actually a pretty nice car, and under its red wrap that is quite faded and gross looking is a white car, making this a white over red, which is a very classy color combination. And it is a first year Murcielago, so gated manual only, which is super exciting. You can see we got some factory wheels on the front, but still some aftermarket ones in the rear, just owing back to its past, but that will be getting addressed when it goes back home. But we've got some old footage for you guys from the work we've done on this car. The engine's been out, we've done all kinds of stuff. It's just pretty much anything that needed touch after being stagnant for so long. But we're gonna stick in some old footage and then we're gonna go for a drive. If you've been following the channel recently, there's been a lot of Lamborghini engines getting pulled out of cars, and we wanted to follow that trend, and we pulled the red Murcielago back in the shop today to pull the motor. So if you've followed our social media and so forth, you may have seen this car in the past or in some other videos, but we haven't really done a direct video on this car, so today is that day. So we put a clutch in this car earlier this year, but we did Kevlar rebuilt clutch at request of the client. After a few hundred miles of driving, we just decided it wasn't the right fit for this car. It was just a little too grabby and wasn't as smooth and as proper as you want your gated Murcielago to be. And that may be in part due to it being converted to two-wheel drive. It kind of changes the whole dynamic of a Murcielago. So the client elected to do the what we usually suggest, which is to put a brand new factory clutch from Lamborghini in this car. Lots of decisions went into this happening today. So Evan has already got it out, and we're gonna go ahead and pull the transmission, put a new clutch in, and have this to a factory original. Way over here. There it goes. Okay. You don't have to touch it, but if you're near it. So while we got this off, we figured we'd show you, because there's a different couple types of slave cylinders or clutch cylinders used to depress the clutch. So this is a integrated unit with the throwout bearing, whereas some transmission setups will have an external slave cylinder. So this is all in one, so we want to show you how that works, and we're going to do that with a lovely air pressure here to simulate what would be brake fluid or hydraulic pressure. Try and do this slowly. Just like that. So what you just saw with the clutch bearing actuating there, when this bearing comes out, it presses against these fingers here on the pressure plate, and when you release the pressure from these fingers, it decouples the clutch
from the transmission and allows you to essentially be in neutral while in gear, which is essentially how a manual transmission works. This is your coupling between the engine and the transmission. And like I said, there's a couple of different styles, but this is the one that has an integrated hydraulic cylinder instead of an external one.
So we've got the, this is the rebuilt clutch out of the red Murcielago, which is right behind us. But we're just making some comments and notes of what it looks like. One of the main things we noticed here is that the only contact pattern is just on this, like, maybe outer 40–50% of the clutch material. See if Andy agrees with me. But
yep. I'd call that 50%.
Yeah, reflects here on the flywheel. You can see the machining marks here, which it is smooth. But you can see the outside, it's got bluing and already some hot spotting. Like I said, this is only about 150 miles or so. And it is even worse here on the pressure plate side. Lots of hot spots, and that was kind of what we were experiencing when we felt this. Is it was real grabby and wasn't smooth. So just overall didn't like the feel of this one. And our thoughts are confirmed with the evidence of the wear patterns of this clutch. Pretty excited to see what the factory one is like. What about you, Andy?
We could also make a comparison between Ed's clutches. How many miles does he have on his?
They were like nearly new. We can measure them.
But I'm just saying, like the wear pattern, hot
yeah.
spots, things like that. You know, this was 100 miles and it did this.
So Andy just brought over the clutch from Ed's narrow Nemesis Roadster. So that is the 640 gated Roadster, and the gated cars are usually a lot easier on clutches either way, but you can see this one, that car has 25,000 miles without knowing if it had had a clutch at any point in its life, but you can see the wear is very similar to the 150 mile clutch that we put in the red car originally.
You can still see the machining marks. You can feel it. I can feel it with my fingernail still. And this one, I don't know what to say about the inside of that. 2 clutch plates here.
You can see a difference in the material there. So this is the Kevlar one, and this is the factory style clutch. And I guess to look apples to apples, we'll flip that one over.
Just a side-by-side comparison.
So like I said, this car sat for 3 years. I've actually been pretty impressed with how it came back to life after being stagnant for that long, and probably pretty questionable or lacking amount of maintenance that it received prior to that. That is one of the things we fixed there, was that driver's side window. Had the regulator rebuilt. Of course, that awesome gated shifter, which is buttery smooth. As we talked about earlier, originally this did get a rebuilt clutch that did not end up working out in this car very well. And now that it is back on the factory clutch, it feels proper amazing. And with this car being 2-wheel drive converted, it is extra rowdy. So there still are some things apart on this car, like the steering column trim here. And that is because we had to replace the ignition switch lock cylinder, because the car, when it showed up, would not start with the key. It only has one warning light on the dash, which is the rear spoiler, which it needs one of the motors for, so pretty easy fix there. And even the air conditioning works. We'll put that on and get some airflow in here, because it's a little stagnant with the windows up. Cold air conditioning. It drives nice. It's comfortable. We had an alignment done and the steering straight, drive straight. The brakes survive sitting for that long. They feel great. After multiple fluid flushes, the fluid was pretty gross. I will say this is probably one of the strongest Mercies that I've driven. It feels absolutely amazing, which once we get a little bit of oil temperature in there, we might stretch her legs a little bit. And this being an early Murcielago, it does have the Coney suspension, which has the adjustability here, the 4 different levels, and then the automatic mode. But the module is not happy with that, so it is currently disconnected. But it rides just as one of a later car that has a fixed suspension stiffness. So this car really is the crown jewel of me saying that how great these cars are, and that they are actually pretty forgiving, as well as Ed has found out with his cars. So check out that series up here where he sees just how far he pushed his cars to the brink. They aren't as delicate as one may seem to think. I mean, of course they still are, but they're still a resilient bull. I apologize if you can't hear me very well. This one does have a pretty straight exhaust, in the means of there's not much muffling it from its rawness. That clutch feel is amazing. No shudders. Engagement point is great. Just the growl of the 6.2s. Love it. I'll tell you, a Bizzarini V12 over 4,000 RPM is a thing to be reckoned with. And this one, being 2-wheel drive, feels so light on its feet. You just get that satisfying click out of every gear. Nothing quite like it. And I know the JR guys haven't even seen this car in person yet. So unfortunately I won't get to see the huge transformation other than what we've told them and what's on video, but I am super excited for them to get this car back and experience just the rawness that is an early Murcielago. The 640s are so much more refined. This is, you know, a little more towards the history of Lamborghini, kind of like more Diablo, and it's just that more raw, hand-built feel you get out of one of the early Mercies. I will say the 6.2s could be my favorite, even over the 6.5s and the 640 cars, just because of that extra raw raucousness that these engines have. The 6.5s, like I said, are just so much more refined, and they are amazing in their own right. But again, just depends on what character you want from your Mercy. But with that said, we're going to tidy up the last couple things on this, and then it can go home to Arizona. I saw that. Did you get that? Oh, I got to see that. It's so cool. So there you go. We've got a flame-throwing early Mercy, gated manual. It is an absolute riot to drive. And again, I'm super excited to get this back to the guys at JR Garage in Arizona, and I hope they will enjoy it as much as we have. But there you go, another Mercy in the books. Out of all the Lamborghinis we've worked on so far, this is probably the one I'm the most proud of, because this was the one that no one thought would come back. Everyone that comes by to look at it, that has seen it over the past year or so that it's been here, they're like, what's going on with that? Is that just junk or what? But it sat for over 3 years, and it came to us non-running on a trailer. Now we've got a flame-throwing Murcielago, and there's still that little bit further that the JR guys are gonna take it. They're gonna take off the wrap, get the bodywork in order, and really bring this car that next step of the way to bring it back to life, back to the glory that it should be, and the appreciation this car deserves. Hopefully y'all enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe below. Let us know what you think, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.